Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Bowling, along with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Bob Beckel, Dana Perino, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City. This is the 5. Well, our southern border is being flooded with illegals bringing disease, crime, and a huge taxpayer price tag. The Obama administration is in knee-deep in another crisis, and history has shown when they have their backs against the wall, the president and his minions distract, deflect, and change the debate. What better way to change the debate than to play the race card, right? On cue, yesterday, Eric Holder played the race card. You know what? Eric Holder played the whole darn race card deck.
There's a certain level of vehemence, it seems to me, that's directed at me, directed at the president. You know, people talk about taking their country back. It seems to me that this president has been treated differently than others. There's a certain racial component to this for some people. There's a racial animus.
So you're either with them or you're racist, right? But not so fast, Jen. We'll take a listen to some regular folks from Obama's hometown, Chicago, who, let's just say, aren't too happy with him either.
President Barack needs to pay attention to Chicago.
Do something for our children. Have the same love for these young people like you got for the ones across the border.
Mr. President, we're asking for you. You're spending billions of dollars in Texas, but we got a problem here in Chicago.
He will probably go down as the worst president ever elected.
So what now? Those people are racist, or let me guess, I'm a racist because I just played those sound bites. KG, deflect, change the debate.
Yeah,
use the race card.
I just think that this is such a weak argument, and the fact that the Attorney General continues to go to this. Anytime there is a challenge to the president, or there appears to be a failure in leadership or crisis situation, they pivot, and their only recourse is to basically call American people, hardworking American people, racist. It's very divisive. I don't think it's helping anybody, including them, and it reflects poorly on the president. I don't think the Attorney General is doing the president any favors with saying these things.
But what do you think of this? Divide and conquer. I mean, why else would he start with the race stuff now?
He's trolling us. This is about the 6th or 7th time that he has said this, and he's often asked this question. He's not a broken record. He's like a doll. You pull the string, and he says the same thing. He's actually Obama's doll because he's allowed to say things that Obama doesn't. He speaks for him. What's interesting here is he did that in England, which I always find a little troubling because he's somewhere else, and you already have a very liberal media there that loves they love an American to fulfill the European assumptions about America, which is exactly what he did. I lived in England for a while. They love the idea of the redneck stereotype, that we're a bunch of recalcitrant racists. And he just fed into that. The fact is, Holder said he wanted an honest dialogue about race, and he claimed that we were cowards because we didn't want it. But his dialogue comes down to, he says you're racist, you say I agree. He called us a nation of cowards, but he is the coward. He is a wuss. He is a wimp because the only way he can have a debate is to call you a name, like I just did, and then run. He's never actually had the debate. Have you ever seen him have a debate? He smears you, and then he clears.
You make a very good point, though. Dana, why is Eric Holder, the Attorney General, the highest law enforcer in the land, having this debate?
I believe this is his true perception.
Yeah.
Right? I think that this is how he actually feels. So there's no amount of logic or anything that we can say that is going to change his mind. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I think, yes, he continues to say that because it keeps all of us agitated.
Yeah.
That, well, how can he think that we're a racist? We're not racist. We're mad about this and that. He doesn't really care what we think.
And that validates his, because if you get angry, that's the oh, see, I told you.
Yeah, but I think he also, however, even at those, if that is his perception, I do think that they have miscalculated about their choice of words and how divisive they've actually become, mm-hmm. and that is why I think they've had a harder time getting even just a few people to try to agree with them, to work with them on a few things in Washington, that the more you think that this is the perfect opportunity for them to reach out and to try to solve something or be partners with some of the governors in the border states, they actually take more swipes. So I don't know what we can do about it, just wait it out.
Can I offer yet maybe another reason for Eric Holder saying this, Bob? Maybe it's this whole, you know, from crisis to crisis to crisis, there's this buffer period where you have to kind of change the debate a little bit until the next thing bubbles up. This, in my opinion, could be Eric Holder saying, hey, okay, we did the border thing for a week now. Let's move on to the next thing. It's nothing to see here anymore.
Can I quote accurately what he said?
Sure.
There's a certain racial component to this for some people. Now, maybe you should use very few people, but I agree with him completely. There are a certain segment, a very small, who don't like Barack Obama because they're racist.
So why
if you believe this country has no racism,
how is that
what does this have to do with anything?
Because you guys are making it sound like he's talking about everybody who's not black.
No, but find your 5 people that you're pinning your whole argument on.
You said hardworking people. That's not what he talked about. He said
how do you know, Bob? Did he give you the list of the people that he's claiming are the ones that have the racial animus in this country?
Some people.
If it's that few people, then why are they having such a hard time achieving their agenda?
That's the point. The point is, any time that there is resistance to an agenda, the race card comes up. So maybe he's only talking about a few people, but it's a lot of a few people because it keeps coming up. If you have a problem with Obamacare, you are racist. If you're talking about the border, you are racist. If you're pissed off about the IRS, you are racist. If you're upset about the VA, you are racist. If you're upset about Bo Bergdahl, you're a racist.
Or Fast
is there
and
anything
Furious.
you could be upset about and not be racist?
So that makes everybody at this table a racist then? Is that what you're saying?
According to
Eric Holder.
That was the intro, Bob. If you don't agree with them,
yeah, it's
you're
true.
a racist.
So I'm a racist Puerto Rican woman. I love this.
You think that they would consider all of you racist?
Do you think
I think deep down they probably do.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. Yeah, deep down they probably do. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of the people on this table have at least been included in an article pointing at racism at one point or another.
Yeah.
I know I have. I don't speak for everyone else. Maybe not you, but I certainly have.
I've called you a racist.
Right. So the point is, but why now? Why is Eric Holder talking about
But why is he saying
it? Why is he bringing the race?
Because guess what?
Because the border is killing them.
And he's head of the Justice Department. Whatever happened to justice being colorblind, Mr. Holder? This is so inappropriate as the head of the Justice Department for him to continually be making these kind of statements, and he's not helping the president by doing this. It looks like President Barack Obama can't stand up for himself.
You think there are no racists in America?
I didn't say that. Do not twist my words.
How is that the discussion? You just asked like the most ridiculous question. We're talking about Eric Holder, why he's talking about racism. Can I throw something out here? He's getting heat from President Obama and his border problem. He's getting heat from the left. Listen to Representative Luis Gutierrez from Illinois, a Democrat.
I wish he would have gone down to Texas. You know, I think of him going down to Texas and I try to compare it. It's almost like, I don't know, if I went on vacation to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and my wife's aunt was ill in the hospital, and I stayed on the beach.
Yeah, Greg, he goes on to say, how would I look if I was drinking pina coladas on the beach? It's kind of what's going on with the border.
Yeah, well, I think Obama was being honest when he said there were 57 states, because I think he was including all of Central America. He didn't know it at the time. But, you know, people on other stations are painting this as people leaving persecution. They're leaving countries that have extreme poverty, no jobs, no water, no toilet paper. But it's not caused by these incredible street gangs. It's caused by leftism. They're not fleeing persecution. They're fleeing the policies and ideology that the liberals in America embrace. I would take 10 of these kids in exchange for one progressive professor, because he made that bed. He made the bed in Central America. They should lie in it.
They glorified it.
Yeah. They've got to go about it the right way, right? And they're fleeing these countries with poor economies and no water and all kinds of infrastructure problems.
Why do you think
Thank God, I hope they don't put them in parts of Chicago and Detroit, because it's not going to be
why do you think there's animosity?
Of course I did. That's my point.
Why do you think there's animosity in Central America against America? A bit because of Dole Pineapple, because of AT&T, because they were run by dictators supported by American businesses. And that resentment has held around a long time. And so, you know, it's maybe not fair, but it is what it is.
So send their kids? What? So storm our borders because you're ticked off at America for buying their
I think that the best thing Obama could do would be to get the presidents of these countries, including Mexico, which is the worst of them, and get them together and say, enough is enough, we're taking your aid away.
Dana, can I ask you this? Is this race debate becoming bigger and bigger via the Department of Justice because maybe they're worried about turnout in 2014? Do they want to?
You mean the racism story?
Yeah, get the base fired up for 2014.
Possibly. I mean, sometimes I think we give them too much credit for thinking ahead. I mean, if they really wanted to succeed in 2014, they would have done a lot of things differently leading up to now. So I'm not sure. And I think the midterm election, it's very difficult for a president in the second term, in the 6th year in their midterm. They usually lose seats in Congress anyway, and it's going to be very difficult for them to convince people to go out to vote unless they are motivated not necessarily by the economy, but because of some sort of animosity.
Race.
Right.
You also,
guess what?
You also see a president. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, or on the immigration issue, now it's a battle of who can turn out more, and I think that the balance of the excitement and enthusiasm right now still is with the right.
Just one quick point about the base. The black base will be with Barack Obama. The selectively edited pieces there of blacks in Chicago.
That's not fair. By the way, if you want to see, I'm glad you brought that up. If you want to see the whole thing, we didn't have time. It's amazing. It wasn't just one or two. It was about 5 or 6 different people who were really ticked off. No, it's worthwhile.
But Bob, guess what? Why are you diminishing their voice and their ability as Americans to come forward and say what they think about where they live and how the president should
because
use
they're black, Bob?
No, and that's
because
the thing.
because the media that you always complain about is taking a few people and trying to make a story out of it, and it's selective editing, and we're running selective editing.
These are a group of people that are saying, why don't you concentrate on the stuff that's going on in our communities and not being so concerned with people outside. What's confusing to President Obama in his head is he sees so many people wanting in while he wants out.
But he does. And here's the problem. And Eric Holder...
He doesn't understand why people want to come here. Because he wants to get the hell out of here. He wants to go to Italy and have a dinner party.
Yeah, but the problem is they keep focusing on everything. They want to make it, skin deep. That's it. They want to focus on skin color and racial animus and minorities because if you penetrate beneath the skin, then you're going to have to talk about the man's qualifications and whether or not there's any leadership there and if he has any ideas and any movement to do something to address this crisis.
Statement. So
no, it's really true. That's what Eric Holder is saying. He's saying any criticism of the president is based on a racial divide and racial animus in this country. He wants to take us back instead of coming forward.
He said it, we used his words, and then we backed it up with some people in Chicago who, frankly, honestly, 97% of the black community who voted for Barack Obama. He comes from Chicago. That's his hometown. We played those because it was
color
it wasn't
matter.
He
us
said
being
some
selective
people, and
editing.
you took 1/10 of 1% of the Chicago blacks.
No, Bob.
It's just sad.
Can we go? Okay, let's go. Please.